What's up, my comic comrades? We hope you all had a great holiday weekend and kick off to the Christmas season. As for today, we're back at it with issue 20 of the Superman title and the rematch between Doomsday and the Man of Steel after Doomsday finally succeeded in breaking out of hell in issue 19. It's also important to note that the last issue also introduced Lois Lane as a new Superwoman, and on the final page, Time Trapper, who appeared earlier in the issue, reveals to Superman that his true identity is a highly evolved version of Doomsday from the distant future, followed by telling Supes that he needs his help. If you haven't seen our episode on the issue, you want to watch it here so you're fully up to speed before we get into issue 20. For everybody else, let's get into it because this issue was amazing. Page 1 picks up immediately after Time Trapper Doomsday reveals his true identity to Superman, and he begins to tell Supes his story. We see flashbacks all the way to his origin, then throughout time, as the fully evolved Doomsday narrates saying, "My creator called me the Ultimate, designed to be a destroyer, the end of all things. For hundreds of thousands of years, I moved from world to world and ravaged them until I was killed. With each death, I would evolve and change, never to be defeated the same way twice. Eventually, I came to your world where I met my end again. There I was given the name Doomsday, but the future knows me as Time Trapper." He continues to say, "I have faced the best and worst of time and space. Many efforts have been made to stop me. We're both survivors, Superman. You were created out of sacrifice and kindness, while I was created out of selfishness and cruelty. I am entropy, you are life. As time goes on, we are forever. My many deaths and rebirths over millions of years have given me gifts beyond my creator's vision. It took the combined powers of the Legion of Infinite Worlds to kill me last time, but since then, I've been unable to evolve." And we'll pause there because at this point, we are shown insane images of Doomsday's evolution and the battles he fought up to this point, along with the very telling title of the issue, which is simply Immortal. We also have to note that he directly refers back to the Final Crisis Legion of Three Worlds story, where it took the combined might of heroes from Infinite Worlds to defeat Time Trapper, which seals into canon that Time Trapper's true identity has been this highly evolved and extremely powerful future Doomsday. It also paints a very dangerous picture for the kind of threat he will likely turn into for Superman as the story unfolds. Anyway, on the next page, we get a face-to-face view of Superman and Time Trapper Doomsday, as he continues to tell Superman, "I believe if I were to die again, I would be reborn into a true god. Then I could break the cycle and rule over all eternity instead of being destined to destroy it. So I ask you to make the sacrifice again and help me achieve the next step of my evolution." Superman is still taking in what he's saying and asks, "All of history is at your disposal? Why come here?" To which Trapper replies, "As I said, time and space are in flux, and it appears I arrived a bit early. You still have your right eye, meaning Zod has not returned yet." Okay, that right there is a crazy setup for a possible future story. That's just a wild tease. Anyway, Time Trapper then tees up the coming rematch between his former self and the Man of Steel by saying, "I remember this moment in history, my old self's arrival, the horror that comes next, the lives lost. You will be tested in ways you have never been tested before. You will survive as you always do, but the rest of your allies are not so lucky," which of course immediately triggers rage in Superman because he was already deeply worried about Lois, who is now Superwoman and exposed to the fight with the hell-emerging Doomsday and his Doomhounds. So Superman screams, "I don't care who you are, no one threatens my friends," as he charges Time Trapper. But again, this is a crazy powerful being Supes is dealing with, and he just snatches Big Blue out of the air by his throat while saying, "Superman, please, I may be evolved, but I am not above physical violence." He then throws Superman to the ground so hard that he goes through the street below. He then tells Supes, "When we meet again, you will choose to help me, or you will watch everyone you love perish. To show that a better future involves us working together, I offer you a head start on the coming battle against my past self." And as he fades away into the time stream, he tells Superman, "Remember, time is of the essence." And that head start he's talking about is the delayed release of the present time, because remember, Time Trapper arrived to talk to Superman just as Doomsday was emerging from underground in issue 19. And all of time froze when he appeared. That being the case, at this moment, Superman realizes he has seconds before time resumes here in the present, and Lois will have first contact with the Hellfire-imbued Doomsday. So on the next page, we get a dope view of Superman launching off the ground as time in the present slowly begins to unfreeze. And we see him doing a full cycle around the Earth to accelerate as much as possible. Then just as Lois as Superwoman is about to land a punch on Doomsday, Superman comes flying in and hits Doomsday with such speed and force that it sends a shockwave blast through the entire city and levels a city block. We then see Lois call for Superman, who responds saying, "Over here, those flames, they're not normal, it's hellfire. I was in such a rush, I didn't," but before he could finish his sentence, one of the Doomhounds comes jumping in to attack Lois. And as she uses her super breath to blast it away, she asks, "Didn't that punch take out Doomsday?" Then on the next page, we see Doomsday is completely unfazed by that super punch, and Supes responds, "It was just round one." He then tells Superwoman, "Deal with the Doomhounds," followed by telling Mercy to evac the city now. She responds, "Already underway, boss, but Superman, I need to activate Project Deadbeat." Supes tells her, "It's too risky, Mercy. Do you trust me?" And after she replies that she does, he says, then buy me some time. We then see the members of Steelworks arrive to help evacuate the city, as the battle heats up between the two supers and Doomsday and his hounds, during which we also see Lex Luthor rescuing a child and running him to safety, while Superman yells, Lex, run. Superwoman then comes flying in to help Superman, saying, back off, monster, I owe you a few punches ever since you. But before she finishes, it hits her so hard she smashes through the base of the building, leveling it to the ground, which, as you might imagine, was significant motivation for Superman, who responded as any good man would after seeing someone hurt his wife, and straight drives Doomsday into the earth with the speed of a sonic boom. We're then taken to the Watchtower, where Batman checks in with Mercy and tells her the Justice League heavies are ready to deploy. Mercy responds from aboard a jet inbound for Superman's position, saying, you're our Hail Mary if Supercore fails, Batman, stand ready. As we see her standing at an open hatch on the ship saying to someone, did you eat today, big guy? And on the next page we see Mercy on the back of Parasite as they dive in to provide backup with several Supercore mech fighters. Mercy then tells Parasite dinner is served, and Parasite responds, Doomsday delight. Parasite then comes flying in and chomps down on Doomsday's neck, but Superman tells him, be careful, you can't kill Doomsday or he'll only come back stronger. Parasite responds, I won't, but his power, I've never had anything like it. It's a bottomless buffet. But Doomsday then gathers his strength and literally rips Parasite in half as a shocked Superman and Mercy look on. Doomsday then roars in Superman's face, which causes him to realize that he has to stop the beast himself. So he unleashes a barrage of punches while screaming, enough. And I'm not talking about regular punches. I'm talking earth-shattering punches that cause his red levels to spike dramatically. I'm talking he's hitting Doomsday so fast and so hard that his eyes and face start to glow red as blood is flying everywhere. Mercy screams for Superman to stop, and he manages to pull himself off of Doomsday's now battered and bloody body just before killing him. She quickly tells the Supercore team to trank Doomsday, saying, it's now or never. Lois then approaches a still raged out Superman, telling him it's over. He responds, I'm okay, but Metropolis, Parasite, you saved all of us. He then asks Mercy if Doomsday is contained, to which she responds, Parasite drained enough that we were able to penetrate Doomsday's skin with heavy-duty syringes. We're pumping it with Black Mercy venom to keep him locked in his dreams. But that's not gonna last. Our scientists will run tests on how to keep this monster sedated, but this is a ticking time bomb. Mercy then turns to Superwoman and tells her that Supercore can take it from here and that she has to get out of here unless she wants her picture all over the place, followed by her flying off with Superman. Later that night, we see Clark and Lois back at their apartment, and Lois is on the phone with Jimmy Olsen, who is venting about Supercore protecting the identity of Superwoman. But Lois tells him if Superman trusts Mercy and Supercore, then she does too. We then see that Lois has an injured shoulder as she tells Jimmy she thinks she's coming down with something and she'll talk to him later. Superman treats her wound with his frost breath and then looks out the window with concern on his face. Lois says, I know what you're thinking. I'm okay. I know I'm still new to this whole superhero game and fighting Doomsday was no joke. My powers hung in there. I took a few hits, but that's what I signed up for. But Superman turns to her and says, Lois, you are the greatest woman I've ever known. There's no one I would rather have by my side in this life. And I learned not to underestimate you a long time ago, but I will never not worry about you. We got lucky today. Doomsday is one of the toughest enemies I've ever fought. He's taken countless lives. Then Superman continues to say, when Time Trapper stopped time to convince me to help him, he said Doomsday's return was a sign of more horrors to come. And I have to ask, what's scarier than Doomsday? Then on the final page of the issue, we're taken to Calaton, where we get a hint at the coming horror Time Trapper Doomsday warned Superman about earlier in the issue. For those of you that don't know, Calaton is a planet that Doomsday attacked and nearly destroyed many years prior, until the Calatons created a being of pure energy known as the Radiant to defeat him. Then after the Radiant killed Doomsday, they wrapped him in their burial suit and sent him to Earth, where he resurrected and fought Superman to both their deaths in the Death of Superman story. Flash forward to the final panel of issue 20, and we see the leader of Calaton say, the ultimate has returned. We have waited long enough. It is time for our revenge, no matter the cost. As we see someone put on the same suit they put on Doomsday after killing him the first time. My people, this was an absolutely incredible issue, and we are loving everything that Josh Williamson is doing with this story. From Doomsday breaking free from hell, to Lois's power issues as Superwoman, and the worry that brings Superman, to the reveal of Time Trapper as a future highly evolved Doomsday who wants Superman to give him one more death so he could evolve into a god. This whole thing is comic writing at the highest level. We don't have a single bad thing to say about what these guys are cooking up, so we'll just leave you with the knowledge that the next issue, Superman 21, drops on Christmas Day, like an extra gift from the claws. Anyway, that's all we got for you today, but make sure to leave us your take on the issue and its broader story in the description. Other than that, we'll see you next time when we talk about all things comics.